Being a stay-at-home mother is something that can bring about a lot of negative emotions. You can feel depressed, you can feel overwhelmed, you can feel unappreciated, you can feel unappreciated. You can feel like you don't have any purpose, like you're just kind of floating through life, taking care of everyone else except for yourself. My name is LK Way. I'm the wellness writer for the True Age Now blog, as well as the wellness coach for my own personal wellness brand, Well House. And I want to talk to you today about how this negative self-image or these negative connotation around being a stay-at-home mom is just complete BS. I mean, it's not accurate. And I'm going to hopefully dismantle that way of thinking for you today so that you can have a much better positive perception of how you see yourself as a stay-at-home mother. Now, the first thing I want to explain, or first thing I want to really drive home, is that your identity should not be in a career. I know that in our society, one of our societal norms is the career woman, right? Like having your career, your fulfilling purpose, you got your business, and these are great things. I'm not saying that it's a bad thing. What I'm saying is it shouldn't make you feel less than because that's not something you're doing right now. Your identity, your confidence should not be tied to what career you have or what letters you have behind your name. And I think sometimes we kind of idolize that, which is why some of you might feel insecure or you might feel inadequate because you're not the career woman, because maybe you have placed that on a pedestal and it shouldn't be on a pedestal. Your identity needs to be who you are in Christ. Now, don't get me wrong, having a career is wonderful. Being a woman who is fulfilling purpose, whatever that looks like for you, is very important. And yes, you are more than a mother. You are more than a wife. Absolutely. But it's about balance. We see in the scriptures when we talk about the virtuous woman, which I believe is in Proverbs 31, that this woman is a woman who did take care of her family. She helped in the community, but she also was a businesswoman. And businesswoman does not necessarily mean you're a CEO of Fortune 500 company. It can mean something completely different. But that's why you have to see what your purpose is in the Lord. And we'll talk about that in just a moment. But I want to shed a little bit of more light on the negative identity. So as far as who you are and the way you see yourself, your perception of yourself does not need to be in your career, because that's an idol. Most likely, if you're allowing it to make you feel depressed or overwhelmed or sad or less than, more than likely is an idol that you built up in your heart and your mind of what you should be, that will make you feel somewhat or make you feel like you're valuable or valid. That's not true. What the Lord says about you is that you're wonderfully made. You are His child, and your value and your confidence needs to come from what He says about you and how He feels about you. And someone who is willing to take care of their family and maybe put their needs on the back burner for a little while is someone who is greatly blessed. I've been tremendously blessed. I'm someone who I can definitely relate to being a stay-at-home mom. I am an author. I am growing a wellness business, but for the most part, before I was doing what I'm doing, before even with being an author, there were times when I couldn't write. You don't write a book, you're not getting paid if you're not selling the book. And I remember at times feeling very sad, and even sometimes myself idolizing and putting certain titles and careers on pedestals. And I had to realize that that's not my identity. That's not what I should get my confidence from. That's not where my confidence should come from. And my confidence did come from that, which is why at one point I didn't have any confidence, because it's like, well, I'm not doing this and I don't have that, so I'm nothing. That's kind of how I thought about myself. But I had to shift that paradigm, and my confidence began to increase as I looked at myself the way God looked at me. And I realized that to Him, it's very important when we take care of our family and nurture our family. And I've been exceedingly blessed because of that, because He makes sure I have what I need. He makes sure that I'm blessed. I've had vacations, I've had free trips, I've had a car that I was able to get, that just money just came out of nowhere. I've just been so blessed because I said, you know what? I'm going to put down that idol, or I'm going to stop getting my confidence from being this person who has this and that. I'm going to rest in who I am in you and be happy with being your daughter and doing the things that you told me to do. So shift your confidence, put your confidence in Him. Also, you need to shift your group. If you're hanging around a bunch of ladies who are intentionally or unintentionally making you feel less than or bad because you maybe don't have this career or you're not working at this certain place doing these certain things, then you need to shift your group and hang around women that are doing what you're doing. Hang around women that are stay-at-home women so that you can cultivate an atmosphere where you can grow in what you're doing. If you're a stay-at-home mom, you need to work with or meet or mingle with other stay-at-home moms. Healthy environment. Don't get with women that are gonna and drag you down and be toxic. Um, healthy, healthy relationships with women that are stay-at-home mothers, where you can impart in them, they can impart in you, and they can you guys together can cultivate an atmosphere where you help each other. So you want to shift your group a little bit. If you're hanging out with a bunch of women, maybe you used to work and now you don't, and you didn't change your group. I'm not saying never talk to them again, but I'm saying you need to get plugged into a group that can cultivate where you're at in your life, right? And the last thing I'm going to talk about is you need to be working in purpose, right? You're more than a mother, you're more than a wife. There is something that the Lord put in you that you are supposed to be doing. And what is that? You may be like, well, I know, but I don't know how to figure out what that is. And a lot of times, oftentimes, most times, I really want to say all the time, your talent, your hobby, the things that you just love doing is what it is. You're like, well, I don't know what that is. What do you like doing? I don't care if it's, well, I like just playing, I like gardening. I like cooking. I like making origami. I think that's when you make shapes out of paper. I don't care what it is. Whatever it is that you are drawn to, that you really enjoy doing, start there and ask him to reveal to your heart, what should I be doing? And as you ask him that, and don't rush. Don't try to find out in 5 minutes after saying that. Let it be organic. Trust him with the process. Let him unravel and unfold it to you naturally. And what will begin to happen, because this is what happened to me, because at one point I wasn't sure. I'm like, well, Lord, I know what I want to do. What do you want me to do? Right? So what will begin to happen is you'll be drawn to things. You'll just have an interest, like, I feel like doing this today. I feel like I really want a garden. I really feel like doing this today, or I really want to create these candles, or I really feel like dusting off my accounting thing and seeing if anyone needs some advice from financial advice when I used to do, just you'll begin to find things that'll come to your heart, and things that'll be presented to your heart, things that'll be presented to your mind. You'll be able to find these things that God put inside of you. You'll begin to uncover them again, and you'll begin to have a renewed interest in doing them. That's what it looks like when you ask the Lord to reveal something to you, and he reveals it to you, right? You become drawn to it. Now, some of you may, and before I get to my next point, and as you begin to do that, just continue to grow organically with it. Don't try to force it to become something. Don't try to make it something. And don't allow people who maybe look down on you because, oh, you're just, go clean. One time my husband made me very angry. Don't come after him. He's a good dude. But he's like, go cook some beans. I had said, I don't know what I said. I make some good beans, but I said something, and he said, go cook some beans. And I was like, oh, go cook some beans? You sure you want to eat my beans? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But I'm totally just kidding. But don't let people make you feel bad when you have your thing that you're cultivating growing, and they come, they're like, oh, you're still working on your little book, or you're still working on your little course. Oh, how cute. Oh, yeah. Anybody buying that? Oh, yeah. See, well, people that are going to speak discouragement to you or look down on you, don't say anything to those people. As far as they know, yep, I'm over here making some beans. They're so good. Do you want some? Like, oh, I'm cleaning the toilet. Yep. I'm changing Suzy Q diaper. Yep. Because you don't want to share these things with people that are going to make you feel bad, right? This is something that you want to protect. The scriptures tells us that out of the heart all issues flow. So protect your heart. So protect that about yourself. It's already a sensitive area. You already feel less than. You already feel like you're not fulfilling purpose. So when you find something and you're cultivating it and you're wanting to grow and you're wanting to build it and make it become something, those people that are going to be negative Nancy's in your life, you don't want to even let them near that. Keep that away from them, because you don't need their negativity on what you're doing. And the last thing I want to talk about is, if you know what you want to do and you're overwhelmed because you feel like you don't have the time, and then you become frustrated. And when you do have the time, you can't work on it because you're frustrated all the time. You have the time. What you need to do, and this is something that I literally did, is you need to take 10 minutes. Literally 10 minutes. I remember I was very busy. My children at the time were all very little, and I didn't have a lot of free time. And actually, I was doing this when I was working too, but I just was busy. I didn't have time to do things for myself. But I remember there was a certain book I really wanted to write. I said, I don't care if all I can do is read one page. I'm working on this every day, except Sunday. I allowed myself to chill on Sunday, but at least sometimes I was still working on Sunday. But I'm like, I don't care. I'm going to take these 10 minutes and I'm going to look at this book. And I did. And, as I began to do that and I began to cultivate that 10 minutes in my day, more time just opened up, because I took the pressure off. I just allowed myself to relax and know that in that 10 minutes, I'm going to get something done. I'm not rushing. I'm not trying to hurry up and meet a deadline. If I missed the deadline that I have for myself, because I would make deadlines, it's not the end of the world. And that was kind of hard, because I did get to where, I got to where that went out the window. I put a lot of pressure on myself, but there was a time when I wasn't doing that. And now I'm like, you know what, if I get to it when I get to it. So I take that 10 minutes and I work on that book. And before I knew it, the book was done, right? I had a whole book that I was able to publish. Now I was very happy about that. So what I'm telling you is that you do have the time. A lot of times we think we don't have the time because we're thinking about the finished product. We're thinking about it takes 2-3 hours a day to get this much done. It takes, this much time in a month to have it done. And maybe you want it done by a month. So you're thinking about the big picture and you're trying to squeeze that in. And you really just need to think about it step by step. Think about it step by step. And I would implore you also to, step to the Lord in your heart and say, Lord, I really want the time to do this. Please provide me with the time. Please help me see the time that I have that maybe I'm not seeing. And He will highlight time to you. I've had that happen too. And the last thing, I know I said that was the last thing, but this is the real last thing. The last thing I want to leave you with, and this is something that I had to learn, unfortunately, the hard way, because I actually ended up putting a lot of stress on myself, a lot of pressure on myself, to the point where I ended up getting a severely stressed nervous system, because I was like, I'm going to get this money. Like, I'm going to get this money. I had such ambition. I had things I really wanted to accomplish. I had certain financial goals I wanted to achieve. And it wasn't even so much, even though, my self-worth and the way I looked at myself definitely was part of this driving force, but it was also what I wanted to do for my family. That was a huge part of that driving force too. And I put immense pressure on myself for an extended amount of time, and ended up putting so much pressure on my nerves that I ended up having a distressed nervous system. Long story short, I ended up in the hospital numerous times. I've spent a week on the couch because I lost my ability to walk. Like, I could walk, like my legs worked, but I would run out of energy very easily. I couldn't walk to the mailbox. I couldn't drive at one point. I had constant ear hunger because I felt like I couldn't breathe, even though I really could breathe. I had heart palpitations. I developed severe anxiety because all these symptoms freaked me out. I'm like, what the heck's going on with me? Something's wrong, because I'm like, all this stuff's happening in my body and I don't know what's happening. And so what you don't want to do is put too much pressure on yourself to be something so quick. Take it easy. Yes, you're a mother, you're a stay-at-home mother, and there is nothing wrong with that. When it's all said and done, at the end of your life, when you're standing before the King of Kings and Lord of Lords, people thought about your career and the career you have is not going to mean a hill of beans. It's going to mean, what did you do? What was your purpose? So cultivate that purpose. Cultivate that purpose, whatever that is. Ask the Lord to grow that inside of you so you can start working on that. And He's going to care about how you treated your family. He's going to care about how you treated your kids when you stand before Him. That's something that's actually going to really matter. Not so much that, oh yeah, well, I built a Fortune 500 company, unless you're leading the people to the Lord, saving souls up in there. But anyway, I'm kind of getting off to different things. So I hope you felt encouraged by this video. Don't get your identity in a business. Get yourself in a group of ladies that can help cultivate a happy, healthy, cultural, that cultural is not the wrong word, but a healthy environment for you as a stay-at-home mother. Make sure that you're cultivating purpose. Ask the Lord to reveal that to you. Make time to do it, but don't sit up there and try to, build a whole business in 2 days. Pace yourself, okay? Don't overwhelm yourself. Like this video if you found it helpful. Please share this video if you know someone that can benefit from it. Subscribe to my channel if you feel like my content is really helping you. My name is LK Way, and again, I am wishing you an awesome day today. Take care.